In my previous video I showed you how to knit these lacy socks on the Passap, but I forgot to give you some tips for knitting the socks, so I will make that today. If your foot is this big, the socks will be perfect for you. But what if your foot is bigger? In that case you need to alter the diagram. This is the lace diagram used to make the socks. It represents multiples of 10 needles. If you look closely, you will notice that it contains two sections of 3 working needles. To knit the socks I used 30 needles on each bed. If you add one needle in working position in front of each half of the original diagram, you will need to use 36 needles on each bed to knit the socks. This almost won't change how the lace would look at the end. Also, you can use 24 needles on each bed to make the socks smaller. Now I'm arranging the pieces of the second repetition. You can see that the diagram is continuous, which means that the lace pattern would be seamless. Let's look at another example. You can raise 2 needles in front of each half of the diagram. Once again you have 2 options. You can make the socks a bit bigger than in the previous example or a bit smaller than in the video. The diagram is continuous and you can see how I'm arranging the second repetition. Don't forget to support me by subscribing and liking the video. Also, tell me which option of these will you choose to knit your socks. Yet another way to knit these socks would be if you raise 3 needles in front of each half of the diagram. With this needle arrangement, the socks will be the same size as in the video, but the lace will look different. I will explain that in a minute. Once again, the diagram is continuous. In each example, I'm showing you the knitted needles just on one of the beds, so keep in mind that you need to double them to get the total amount. The last example would be with 4 needles in front of each half of the diagram. This will make the socks bigger than the ones in the video, but the lace will have a different look compared to the first example, which also had a total of 36 needles. But what will be the difference? As you can see, 2 needles have been knitting and are separating the sections of the lace. The more needles you have in working position in front of each section of the diagram, the wider these columns would be in the knitted socks. One of the most important things is to make sure that the diagram is continuous. If it can't be looped, it would be visible in the end results. Now I will give some advice to the Passap S owners. Since the Passap S doesn't have pushers on the back bed, you won't be able to knit these socks tubular. You can follow this chart to make them. Start by knitting the hem, then continue with the lace. If you find my diagram confusing, use the one from the Passap Monomatic manual. After you knit the lace, transfer half of the stitches on the back bed and continue knitting tubular. Finally, you will only have to sew the lace and the hem. That's all for today. Have a nice day and see you in my next video.